hell? I can't do a goddamn thing.
Wow, JC just teleported out of the... Yep.
Yeah,
I was shooting and he just, like, disappeared before my eyes.
He died-seed.
Oh.
Carico al sicuro, come previsto.
Yeah, something seems to have changed a little there. Come here!
No!
Yes! Okay, so, as the title of the video says, this is 2 years too late. It's something that should have been made and put up a long time ago. Even if not 2 years ago, then at least a year ago. It's something that people should have been made aware of back when it first became a problem. The issue with that is that this became a problem because everyone was so secretive about it. Things like Cronus, rapid-fire controllers, mouse and keyboard, all these things have been prevalent in every game for a long time. Not just in Battlefront. Any competitive shooter, any competitive game, someone's using something to give themselves an advantage. They always will be, it's just how it is. And in Battlefront specifically, everyone's very hush-hush about it. Everyone is so serious about how well they do in the game, that to even suggest they are using something other than their fingers to suggest that they're not as skilled as they claim to be is like a personal attack on them. So seriously, people take it. Which means that even though most competitive players have been using some sort of mods for a long time, it's just never brought up. They won't admit to using it. Should also clarify what exactly I mean when I refer to modding, because a lot of people have different ideas about it. But it was presented very simply to me once, and I can't disagree with the reasoning. He said, if you're using anything except a DualShock 4, you're modding. Control freaks, scuff controller, Razer controllers, mouse and keyboard, rapid fire, anything that is not just your DualShock 4 controller, you're modding. You remove the springs to create like crude trigger stops, where you've modded your controller. You've made modifications to it, you're modding. And it's another problem that comes up when people are extremely defensive about it, because if you turn around to someone who's using a scuff controller and say, no, you are modding, chances are they'll turn around like, no, I'm not modding, it's just a scuff. Scuff controllers are fine, they're okay. When it's not. Either it's all okay or none of it's okay, and the way most people look at it when they bitch about Cronus is that none of it's okay. So they can't excuse that. They can't ignore that they are using controllers that give them an advantage. Scuff controllers come with things like raised sticks, they come with trigger stops, they come with hair trigger mode. They come with things that give them an advantage over someone who's just using a regular controller. How I always looked at it is that in Battlefront everyone generally follows a similar sort of pattern. When you first start playing, you put on whatever weapon you think is fun. For me, it was the RT-97C. I just ran around aimlessly around the map with the RT-97C, hoping to get some kills, and if I got a kill, I thought I was the best player on Earth. Then you notice that you're dying to people who are using blaster rifles, like the E11, the A280. They're doing much better than you. So you start using those guns, you get a bit more accurate, you start using things like the E11 and the A280, maybe the DH-17 if you're feeling fancy. But then you notice, hold on, I'm dying to this weapon called the EE3. So you start using the EE3, and your burst is going to be slow as piss. You're going to be terrible with that gun. But you'll get better. You'll get better with the EE3, and you'll start beating people using E11s, A280s. You'll start doing better than them. But then, you come across people who are just bursting the EE3 way better than you. They're doing much better than you. Think, well, what are they doing that I'm not? Those people have modded controllers, they have trigger stops, they have hair trigger mode. And you can go and get yourself a fancy modded controller. Now you can compete with those guys, you can do better than those guys. But hold on, because now there's a next level. And that's where the rapid fire comes in. And for a long time, I thought it wasn't possible. I thought there had to be something else going on, and I really tried investigating that and finding out what it is that other people could be using.
There we are, there was one. There we are. How many bullets was that came out in the time it should have taken me to fire 2? It was like 6?
Fucking bitch. Oh, wow.
The reason it took me so long to get into competitive is because I first came across Cronus users, and when I saw them using it, when I saw them using rapid fire, I realized there was nothing I could do to compete with them. Fair enough, you might do as well as them in a match, but you cannot compete with them. You cannot compete with the burst. The burst is too fast. No human can fire that fast. As much as people like to think they can, they can't. They can fire at the maximum visual speed, because Cronus is firing faster than the maximum visual speed, and they don't know it. They think they can compete with Cronus. They can't. The most obvious way to look at it is to look at EE4. The EE4 is impossible to fire that quickly without rapid fire. It just can't be done. And so when I saw that, and saw that it was impossible for me to compete with them on an even playing field, I just backed out of competitive. I never got involved in it, because it was pointless. Everyone's using something, and I didn't have anything. I'm just running around with a bitch basic controller. There's nothing I can do to be on an even playing field with these people. But I still tried, I still played because it was fun. And I'd play in scrims, and I'd get pissed off because my gun was always jamming. Because I'm in England, and I had to play in American servers all the time. And the lag just meant that my weapon, a lot of the time, would just stop firing and I'd die because of it. That pissed me off so much that I eventually just went and bought Cronus. So it was G-Men Smiley who first got Cronus. Out of people that I know, he was the first one that I know to get Cronus and like walk me through what it can do. And as part of it, it was like, yeah, no, the gun just doesn't jam anymore. So eventually when I got it, I said to him, like, oh, I'm just gonna get it so that my weapon doesn't jam anymore. I'm not gonna bother increasing the fire rate or anything like that. I don't need to. He turned around, he says, no, make it faster. If you've got it, you may as well make it faster. So I have a look, and I get some settings, and it makes the EE3 faster, makes it automatic, makes it rapid fire. And it's fantastic. After playing for so long, and trying to replicate the things that people do with Cronus, it just completely fucked up my hands. Like, I've got bad carpal tunnel damage now. I've got to wear wrist braces a lot of the time because my hands are almost always numb. The circulation's that fucked. And having Cronus, having everything be automatic, it's so much more comfortable to play. It feels great. You can play for as long as you want without your hands getting tired. You don't have to put any strain on yourself. Instead of having to mash a button to get good results, you just hold one down and get even better results. So after using that, I decided to work out how to get even better scripts. As good as my EE3 was, I still could not work out the EE4. And the player Dieselea had the perfect EE4. The first time I heard it, it terrified me. I'm just playing a match, and then in the distance I just hear... I'm like, what the fuck was that? It sounded like a fucking lion. That was terrifying. What's going on? So I always referred to it as the Lion's Roar. Dieselea's Lion's Roar. And eventually, I asked Dieselea for his scripts for EE4. I showed him what I did to my EE3, and he showed me his EE4. And with that script, I was able to modify that and improve it even more. So the settings that most people are using are Dieselea's settings. Well, not his settings, sorry, but his script. The reason why the script works so well, the reason why it's so consistent, is because it's Dieselea's. He managed to get a really good one going. And what I did is I just added some things. I improved the numbers, I improved the... I just made quality of life improvements, really. And just made it more sleek. Refined it, added some features like one button roll, and then whenever anyone wanted settings, those are the ones that I gave them. That updated version of Dieselea's original settings. So, what I'm going to try and do now is to demonstrate exactly what my settings allow me to do in Battlefront and in other games. I don't have that many shooters installed at the moment, and Cronus does a lot of things to affect different games in different ways, and to give you huge advantages in other games. And I will try and pull clips to show some of the things that it does in those games. Let me mess with my settings. Alrighty. So, the first thing that I can think of showing that Cronus does is the one that everyone thinks of, which is the rapid fire. So just shoot up, like, towards the sun or something. Just shoot up and, like, show your burst speed. This is a regular human bursting. It's a pretty good burst speed.
No.
So yeah, the Cronus gives me like twice as fast as a regular player, as well as it being extremely consistent. Like, I'm never gonna have my gun jam. I can always just keep bursting, even while rolling, just keep bursting. Like, it doesn't affect it at all. I will actually put on cooling cell as well, and just keep shooting. Boop. This looks pretty legit, right? This is a regular human bursting the EE4.
We're picking up another escape autonomy. Secure that area and the pod.
Restart and swap to an E11. And shoot at this box on this side, directly where I'm stood in front of. Just come out to where these footprints are, and just shoot that side of that box. Damn, that's a lot of nasty spread you got right there. Be a shame if someone just didn't have it.
Fuck you.
Look at this fair balanced weapon over here. Like, hold on, I want to get like even more distance away. Yeah, this brown box over here. Get like to the edge of the map and just shoot at that brown box. Damn, that seems to be going all over the place. Huh. Ding! The best part is as well, if you try... if you try tap fire it, because I've seen casual do it as well, if you tap fire to try and get a straight line, you still get some spread. You do still get some spread, even if like you either have to go incredibly slow like that, which is kind of useless, or if you try tap fire at the regular speed, you still do get, yeah, like quite a fair bit of spread. Swap to A280 as well.
Yeah.
Try to think. Let's use this. I want a box further. Oh, look at these. Okay, that brown box, like the middle brown box right there. Come. Yeah. Just shoot that one. Go as far away as you want, sort of thing. Just shoot that one. I don't notice any difference here.
Yeah.
There's one more that I want to use. I just want to get a good distance away to be able to do it. Let's go... Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. So, if we use, this brown box at the foot of the ship, restart and swap to an RT-97C.
I don't have it.
I don't have that gun.
Sorry. I have DLT-19. We can use it with the H-17 or S614C.
Just come over to where I am. Like, hold on. I'll send you a partner invite. Just partner start off me to make it faster. And just come over where I am and look at this. Let me see. Doop-de-doo. Yeah. I will shoot at This brown box. In fact, go over, stand at that brown box right there. Like, the one on the furthest side here, so you can look at my bullets hitting it. Go over to it.
Yay.
Alright. I have no idea how well this is gonna work. Oh my god, you're exactly where I need to shoot. Alright. Let me see there.
Wow.
Wait, sorry, those are the wrong settings. Hold on, I'll shoot that box. That one.
Which one? This one? It's the same.
Oh no, it's not the same. If you look up into the sky, this is with the first settings that I used, and it's kind of all over the place. If I use this one,
Wow.
yeah. That's, yeah, like, it's basically just a straight line. And these aren't even the right settings for it. These are just random settings. You can get it much better than this. So, in the live chat to the Drop Zone 5 match between Wrath and 322, you got your boy Stone Swift Strike sitting there, like, oh, you take away EE3, and players like this Color Kid are trash. And I love it. I love the blissful ignorance that he lives in. I wish I could live in a world like that, where if you take away EE3, it makes Cronus not matter. However, like, just look at it. Just look at, like, what it does to automatic weapons. Not just that, but, like, the rolling I'm doing now, this is just one button. Like, I'm pressing just one button, and I just roll around like this. Like, perfect rolls every time. Just with the one button. There's that, there's the anti-recoil, the zero spread, the aim assist. Like, even if they were to make a tournament that has, like, no burst weapons, no EE3, no EE4, no SE14C, they can take away even the E11 if people say E11's too strong or something like that. It doesn't matter, the people with Cronus still have a complete advantage. Like, you can see it, you can see the complete advantage that they have, in every single sense. Yeah, Cronus barely affects this game, which is why, if comp does come to Battlefront 2, it will be at least more balanced. What I'm doing at the moment, though, if I can avoid dying. There we are. I'm just showing you. Now, already, like, established I have terrible aim. And this is the specialist. The whole point of the specialist is that you have to have good aim. The aim assist with the Cronus means that I can land pretty much every shot. Which, again, think about that. For a very good player, that's not really significant. A very good player will just land all their shots anyway. They're good enough to do that. I'm not. I'm not good enough to do that at all. My aim is terrible. Having the Cronus, though, allows me to hit the shots. That's how good the aim assist is. That's how good Cronus is. So, even if comp comes to Battlefront 2, and everyone thinks it will be fine because of the lack of effect that Cronus has, when people look and see that you can't use rapid fire, the aim assist still exists. At the moment, there's a really weird lag, which is throwing the aim off for some reason. For some reason, it's aiming me slightly to the side of where people are, which I'll just put down to Battlefront 2 being Battlefront 2. The only reason I'm not doing this in multiplayer is that I can't be bothered finding a game. But it does work, obviously, in multiplayer. It's like, the time to kill is this quick. You see someone, you look at them, you point, you click. And it's almost always headshots as well, even if the final shot isn't a headshot, so it doesn't register as one. It'll still hit their head most of the time, just because of how the aim assist works. And I've made my health double just to make it simpler to walk around and show you. But even then, you'll rarely die anyway. The only way you'll really die is to something like Vanguard, because the aim assist just makes it too easy to kill things. It's honestly insane, and it works for every class. I'm just playing Specialist because it's the most fashionable. I like Specialist. It looks good. But this does work for every class. It works for Assault, it works for Heavy, works for Officer, works for Enforcers, Aerial, everything. Heroes. So just take anything that uses a gun as their primary weapon. Anything where the aim assist will help, because obviously it's not going to help if you're using a lightsaber hero. But otherwise, you just have better aim than everyone. Granted, remember that my aim is bad. Like, it's difficult for me to shoot people. If you just give this to someone who already has pre-existing good aim, then it means they can never miss, because the aim assist will remove the human error. Even the best player can miss sometimes, because of human error. And this just means that they can't. Okay, so now I've come over to Overwatch, and I do not have the Overwatch specific scripts. I'm still just going to be using the ones that I use for Battlefront 2, the ones that I'd use for every game. And first, I'll show you. So this is how Soldier 76's weapon fires without cronus. This is just how it will fire for anyone and everyone, which is no recoil, but loads of spread. And as you go out to more of a distance as well, then you can see the size of the spread pattern's insane. It's the biggest downside to Soldier is just controlling the spread. And a lot of the skill required to play Soldier comes from your ability to control the spread. Now with Cronus, this is the setting I would use for EE3. And what you can see is that it's made it insanely slow. It's made it incredibly slow. But there's no spread. The bloom doesn't even show up. It's non-existent. There's no spread. And that's with incorrect settings. If I do this, that's the input I've swapped over to the EE4 settings that I use, and you can see it's much faster. It's still not close to as fast as it's supposed to be for Soldier, but it's much faster, and there's still no spread. The bullets are all incredibly tightly grouped together as a straight line. Yeah, you can see there's no spread at all. I can walk side to side, and you can see it just traces a straight line. The bullets will always come out completely straight. There's no spread pattern at all. And these are with the incorrect settings. If I were to put on the correct Overwatch scripts, I'd be able to do way more things. For starters, Soldier 76's weapon would fire at its regular speed or close to it, but still have zero spread. Which, if you play Overwatch, you would know is completely broken. It's complete bullshit. That would allow you to, if you have decent aim, maintain an accuracy of at least, I'd say, around 60%. If you've got very good accuracy, 80%. Like, you would be able to compete with people significantly more skilled than you. It does not matter if they're the best in the world, they are more skilled than you. And having Cronus allows you, with less skill, to compete with them or do better than them. And that's just with Soldier. I also know that there are scripts for Farah to make it so that you're always airborne, you're always flying, because it just knows the exact timings of when to press the buttons to make sure that you're always airborne, that you'll never fuck it up, you'll always just... Even if you're not super high, you'll always be at least off the ground. Which is way better than any average person can do. That would take hundreds of hours of practice with Farah to always be able to do that, to never make a mistake. And the Cronus can do that for you. It removes the skill gap there. Makes it so that anyone can do it. You can have perfectly timed and charged Hanzo arrows. With McCree, again, because of the multitude of things that Cronus does, whether it be recoil or aim assist, etc. It makes McCree much stronger, even in the hands of someone who's got very little skill. And I don't even know much about Overwatch. I've barely played this game. I do not know all the things that Cronus allows you to do in Overwatch. Those are just some of the things that I know. If someone were to sit down and work out everything that was possible, it'd be limitless. And the point is that people already have. Because these scripts, Cronus, it's been around for a long time. I could look right now on the Cronus website, or in the game packs, and find something specifically for Overwatch up to date for the most recent patch to be as strong as possible. You can use it for every game, and it gives you an advantage in every game. Like I said, the reason I never got into competitive is because I could not compete with the level of mods that people had before I was even there. People have been doing it for a long time. People have been using Cronus or rapid fire controllers, etc. They've been using it way before I even started playing the game. And when I showed up, it was just completely uneven. So, as soon as I got Cronus, and as soon as I knew how to compete and outdo these people, it's very simple and clear to me what I had to do. Which is that anyone else who got Cronus got my settings. After going for so long, being at a complete disadvantage to everyone else, I wasn't going to let anyone else be at that disadvantage, certainly to me or to anyone else. So all they had to do to get my settings is say they're using Cronus and be honest about their setup. Honesty is all it took to get access to the best settings possible. That's also the reason a lot of older players immediately quit when what I'll just refer to as the Cronus outbreak first happened. Because they've been using it for so long without being honest about it, they're in a position where they can't turn around and suddenly admit to what they're using. They can't turn around and say, oh, I've been using Cronus this whole time and lying about it. And because they can't turn around and admit they have it, they can't get access to the good scripts. They have inferior versions of it. They can't do as much as I can, or as the people I've given these scripts to can. So their only option really is to quit, because they can't compete. And it was Chewbacca who put it very simply, which is, the only reason they're pissed off is that people finally worked out how to mod better than they do. And it's completely true, because a lot of older players have been using it for ages. And now that everyone else who's been forced to improve naturally to compete with them, now it's an even playing field. Well, those players are just more skilled. They've already been competing with it for ages. And now they have it as well. Now they can just outdo, not just compete, but outdo. They can outperform these people very consistently. And so loads of people quit. So, there are two issues now. The first one is that how I used to do things is that I would be personally in charge of distributing scripts to people, and anyone who got Cronus would come to me, and then I would help them set it up. And that meant that the number of people who had it was limited. It meant that I would be able to force honesty from anyone who got it, that no one would be able to deny having it because I would know for certain what they are using. That meant that everyone else can turn around and call them a piece of shit. That's their right to do it. They're using something that gives them an advantage and everyone else can criticize them for it. Whereas now, people are starting to use the scripts without my involvement. It's going back to how it was before, where everything's very underhanded, very deceptive, with no honesty behind it. This also means that some elements of the scripts are being shared that should not be shared. There are certain aspects to it that are too strong for everyone to be using. All I distributed was the rapid fire, and now everything's on the table. And regardless of it being fair between people, it's completely unbalanced for gaming as a whole. Because it doesn't just work on Battlefront, it works for every game, on every system, and now everyone will be using it. My solution is very simple, which is that everyone who's honest about what they are using, no consequence. And everyone who's being deceptive about it, everyone who's lying about what they use, everyone who's trying to fool people, they just don't get to compete in anything. Ideally, it would be a system where anyone who's using something that's not a DualShock 4 can't compete, but there's no way to regulate that. There's no way to say what people aren't using. People can show up and claim they are using a regular controller. They can send you a photo of their controller. That does not show you what's plugged into their PS4 while they are playing. There's no way to know what people aren't using. So, the best solution is just to say, okay, if you're using Cronus, if you're using Rapid Fire, if you're using all these things and are denying that you have it, you just can't compete. You're being dishonest. A system based around honesty. Because honesty is the best way to keep things fair. In the description for this video, I've linked a list. And for now it's just called the mods list. It's a list detailing what everyone's using. This extends to Cronus, Scuff controllers, Control Freaks. Any mods that anyone is using is on the list. And it's the best way to keep that atmosphere of honesty. To just make sure that everyone can see what everyone has and what everyone is using. Now, this list is not just made by me. There's been a few people putting it together. I'm also not the owner of the list. I do not have final say on anything to do with it. All I can do is say what I know for certain people are using, and other people can say what they know for certain other people are using. And that's how it will work. Because it's not just for Battlefront. That's the key issue here. It's not just for Battlefront. Battlefront's a dead game. But Cronus and the scripts on it, rapid-fire controllers, these things work in every game. Competitive in every game will be affected by this. Whether it be Battlefront 2, Battlefield 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, any game will be affected by this. Every game will be affected by this. And so this is the simplest way to make sure that everyone's at least honest about it. So yeah, sorry it took me so long to make this video, because ideally it's something that would have been up a long time ago. But, like I said, it shouldn't have been up to me. I only showed up, like, well after the game's lifespan ended. I only worked out how people have been doing these things way after they were already doing them. There's nothing I could have done. All I did is bring awareness to it and spread it around like a plague. It still existed. It still would have kept spreading, but people would have just kept it secret. I still feel like how I've done things has been an improvement in a lot of ways. Because now, instead of people just singling individuals out, instead of people just saying, oh no, that player's using this, that player's using this, now everyone knows what everyone's using. Which is much better. I've never hidden anything that I'm using, because I've got no reason to. I know how good I am with it, I know how good I am without it. Pretty much everyone I've given it to knows how good they are with it and knows how good they are without it. Except for one or two people, which is why it's become a problem now. Because people have started to think they're much better than they are. And it really has just killed the spirit of the game.